Right now, somewhere in your pocket or on the table beside you, your phone is waiting. You haven't touched it in maybe 4 minutes. That feels like a long time. Your hand already wants to move toward it. But the real answer for why is far stranger than social media is addictive. It has almost nothing to do with apps. It has almost nothing to do with screens at all. The urge you feel right now is over 2 million years old, and it was built for a world with no phones in it. Start with a question. Why does checking your phone feel good even when there's nothing new? You open it, no messages, no notifications, and still some small part of you feels satisfied just for having looked. That reaction isn't about the content, it's about the checking itself. In the 1930s, a researcher named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment with pigeons and a lever. Peck the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But Skinner noticed something odd when he changed the rules. If the pigeon got a pellet every single time it pecked calmly, occasionally, like someone checking the mail. But if the pellet came randomly, sometimes after one peck, sometimes after 20, the pigeon became obsessed. It pecked constantly. It couldn't stop. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement. Unpredictable rewards are far more compelling than predictable ones. Your brain isn't wired to crave a guaranteed outcome. It's wired to crave the possibility of one. Sound familiar? Your phone is a lever. Every unlock is a peck. Sometimes there's a message. Sometimes there's nothing. And that unpredictability is exactly what keeps your thumb moving. But here's where it gets stranger. This mechanism didn't appear because some software engineer read about pigeons. It was already sitting inside your brain, fully built, long before anyone imagined a touchscreen. Skinner just found the switch. He didn't invent it. So where did the switch come from? Picture your ancestors 60,000 years ago, walking across an open grassland. Every rustle in the grass matters. Every distant shape could be a predator, or food, or another group of humans, dangerous or friendly, you don't yet know. Standing still and ignoring the signal could get you killed. Checking constantly could keep you alive. Your brain evolved to reward the act of scanning, not finding something, scanning for it. Because in that environment, information itself was survival. A rustling bush that turns out to be nothing still taught your ancestors something valuable. That direction is currently safe. The checking had a payoff even when the answer was nothing there. This is the part people miss. You don't crave the notification. You crave the resolution of uncertainty. Your brain releases dopamine not when the reward arrives, but in the moments leading up to it, while you're still not sure what you'll find. A neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz demonstrated this directly, studying dopamine neurons in the brain. He found that dopamine doesn't spike most sharply at the reward itself. It spikes hardest during anticipation, right when the outcome is uncertain. Once the outcome becomes predictable, whether it's good or bad, the dopamine response fades. Certainty is boring to your brain. Uncertainty is electric. That's why refreshing an empty inbox can feel almost as satisfying as opening a full one. The spike already happened in the second before you looked. Now think about what your phone actually offers you dozens of times a day. Not information, uncertainty. A lock screen is a lock screen precisely because you don't know what's behind it. And your ancestral brain, the one built on a grassland with no internet, treats that uncertainty exactly the way it once treated a rustling bush. There's a second layer to this, and it's even older than the checking itself. It isn't about danger, it's about people. An anthropologist named Robin Dunbar spent years studying primate social groups and found something consistent across species. Primates, including humans, spend an enormous amount of time on social grooming, picking through each other's fur, not for hygiene, but for bonding. Dunbar proposed that human language itself evolved as a kind of vocal grooming, a way to maintain social bonds across larger groups than physical touch alone could manage. Gossip, in other words, wasn't a flaw in human nature. It was the original technology for social survival. Knowing who did what, who's allied with who might turn against the group. In small ancestral bands, this information wasn't gossip for entertainment. It was a survival map. Falling out of the social loop could mean losing protection, losing food access, losing your place in the group entirely. Your phone plugs directly into that ancient wiring. Every notification is that someone, somewhere, is talking about you, to you, or near you. Every social feed is a live feed of who's doing what inside your extended tribe. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a village of 40 people and a platform of 400 million. It just knows social information is available, and social information used to determine whether you lived or died. Here's a strange twist. You'd think, given all this, that more information would make you feel safer, calmer, more secure in your place in the group. It doesn't. It often does the opposite. A psychologist named John Cassiopo spent decades studying loneliness and found something counterintuitive. Loneliness isn't simply about how many people surround you. It's about the gap between the social connection you expect and the social connection you actually feel. And constant exposure to other people's curated lives, without the deeper contact your ancestors would have had around a fire, tends to widen that gap rather than close it. So you check the phone, hoping the ancient hunger for social information will finally be satisfied. And for a second, it is. Then the feed refreshes. New information appears. The hunger resets. It never fully resolves because resolution was never really the goal. The goal, 10,000 generations deep in your biology, was staying alert. Think about what this means about you, right now, holding a piece of glass and metal. You are not weak-willed. You are not broken. You are not uniquely addicted in some personal, character flaw kind of way. You are running software that is over 1 million years old on hardware that was never designed to run it. Your ancestors checked the grass. You check the screen. The mechanism is identical. Scan for uncertainty. Feel a small reward for scanning. Repeat. The environment changed completely. The wiring didn't change at all. There's something almost tender in that, if you look at it the right way. That twitch in your hand, the one that reaches for your phone without permission from the rest of your brain, isn't a malfunction. It's a message from every ancestor who survived long enough to become you. A message that says, stay alert, stay connected, don't get caught off guard. The problem isn't that the instinct exists. The problem is that the instinct now has infinite fuel. On the grassland, the rustling eventually stopped. The bush ran out of movement. Your ancestors could only check so often before there was simply nothing left to check. Your phone never runs out. There is always another feed, another headline, another message that might exist. The lever never stops offering another peck. So the next time your hand drifts toward your phone for no particular reason, you might notice something different happening in your head. Not a craving for content, a craving for resolution. The same craving that once kept a small group of humans alive on an open plain, scanning the horizon, listening for the wrong kind of silence, and paying it forward, without knowing it, generation after generation, until it reached you. Right now, somewhere in your pocket or on the table beside you, your phone is waiting. But it was never really the phone you were waiting for. It was the ancient, unfinished habit of scanning a world that could never fully be resolved, dressed up in a glass rectangle and handed back to you as if it were new.